Hello, welcome to the last episode of Fallout 4K Squared. I'm Kyle,
I'm Kira.
and we completed the game last episode, or at least the main parts of the game. Today, this episode is just going to be our review. Now, I know there's, tons of Fallout 4 reviews out there, and the game is over like a year old at this point. But we spent so much time playing this. We think we deserve to just have a video talking about how we felt about the quality of the game. Like, don't you agree?
Yeah, I definitely agree because we played through this whole thing. You've seen us play through it, and now that's come to an end. We feel like we should get the chance to just reflect.
Yes, and for any of you watching it, I don't know what kind of reviews you guys have seen. Ones that are just fanatical saying great things about it, and the ones that are just like hating it the whole way through. We feel like we're going to be a mix of both, maybe leaning a little more towards negative, but we feel like we've played this so much and that you've watched us play it. I hope our opinions come across honestly. They're really just our opinions, but I don't know, maybe you'll care for them, maybe you'll learn something, maybe we will. If you disagree with any of our opinions, feel free to leave a comment about it, but okay, I got the disclaimer out of the way. We figured just be respectful to play the credits because I don't think anyone ever tends to do that anymore.
Yeah, it's just the fact that it's an optional thing rather than something that plays after the game is over now.
It's kind of typical in Fallout now.
Yeah.
But okay, so we have a bunch of talking points that we just want to go over while we'll have this going. The first thing I wanted to bring up is the release, like the building up to of the actual game, because I think this leads to a lot of the disappointment people feel towards Fallout 4, which we inevitably were a part of. See, Fallout 3 was released in 2008. Then they had their whole DLC season, followed by New Vegas being released in 2010. The marketing for Fallout 4 only began like 6 months prior to the launch of Fallout 4, which was into 2015, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Fallout 3, the was 2008. If you listen to any of the marketing and all the hype they tried to generate immediately before Fallout 4's release, they claimed that they worked on the game for 7 years. That's not true. That's entirely crap.
There's no way they worked on it for that long.
Just playing it, you can see they did not work on it for that long because 7 years is a lot of development time. That's like BioShock Infinite.
Yep.
And they also claimed, independently of that, well, Todd Howard mostly, that they had several teams around the world working on this. And that's very common in today's day and age, but it's also not necessary. There are many games, many big ones even, that are all produced out of one studio. So if you worked with that many people, it tells me, wait, McCready Z114, McCready's a synth?
That's just the same voice actor.
Oh, okay, sorry.
It's listing the characters that each voice actor voiced.
Okay, sorry, I freaked out for a minute. But so okay, what was I saying? Oh yeah, if you have that many people working on it simultaneously, why would you have that many people working on it when you had 7 years of development time? The answer, they didn't really have 7 years. They might have started brainstorming immediately after Fallout 3, but knowing Bethesda, they left it on the table and did nothing with it for the longest time.
Yeah, I agree. That's the only way it could have come out like this.
Yes. And don't get me wrong, it's a good game, but there are many glaring bugs and loopholes, I guess, faults, which I guess we'll get more into when we start talking about the actual game itself.
Mm-hmm.
The marketing hype, I think, also really just in general contributed to this. I mean, they literally only waited 6 months. That's a very short time to announce the game before it gets released.
Yeah, it really is.
Everyone was going crazy for it. I mean, you see all the people that were dressing up as Fallout characters and whatnot. Because I think people were just so desperate to get a Fallout game.
Because it had been 5 years since the last one was released.
I think it was 7.
No, you said 2015 when
Yes,
Fallout 4
yeah.
was released?
Two-
New Vegas was released in 2010.
Right, but Bethesda acts as if New Vegas didn't exist. Because they always say 7 years since Fallout 3, and everything Fallout 4 references Fallout 3 and almost completely ignores New Vegas.
That's ridiculous.
Because I mean, I would love it if Bethesda would create, a new Obsidian Fallout. They would license it to them. But it's looking more and more unlikely that that's going to happen because Bethesda, I feel like, is just going to try to sit on their own intellectual property instead of giving it to another studio that can show them up.
Yep.
Okay, so also I guess I just thought I'd mention that Fallout Shelter was released in that time, which it was a mobile microtransaction game, but you know what? It did really well at what it was trying to do.
Yeah, I agree. And the whole microtransactions, they weren't as bad as they could have been, I felt.
Yeah, they were revolved around wait timers, so it's all about whether you had money or wanted to just wait.
Yeah.
So, anyway, this is not a Fallout Shelter review. Okay, so let's talk about the actual game of Fallout 4. So, one thing we felt was that the game really front loads its awesome content. Basically, you could tell that most of the work was done at the very beginning of the game and not at the end. And it's like inversely proportional throughout.
Yeah, I definitely agree because at the beginning you can definitely see a lot of work was put into that to make it work.
Like
and
that
make it
intro
look good.
cutscene.
Yeah.
And then like the whole intro sequence from before the war.
Mm-hmm.
All that dialogue, all those, the clean models and textures and whatnot made just for that scene. It was really well done. We were blown away. I think most people were blown away. And that's why that was the segment they used in their trailers at like E3 and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly.
And after that point, it just starts getting worse and worse and worse.
I definitely agree with that.
I mean, you don't really notice it that much until you start getting into the meat of the faction quest, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Or maybe the Minutemen. I hate the Minutemen.
I know.
Okay, but one thing I want to talk about with the marketing, and prior to the release of Fallout 4 and then into it, why is it that the standard white male is the mascot character for Vault 111 and Fallout 4? Despite this extremely advanced character customization creation system, it was always that default. Because, the 30-year-old white man is the default of humanity, apparently. Seriously, every single advertisement. I would have forgiven them if they had done it like a different character in each advertisement. But literally every single advertisement prior to the release of Fallout 4 had that guy.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And honestly, you can kind of see that with back in Fallout 3 too. But New Vegas, I think, had better promotional material in that sometimes you couldn't even tell what the character looked like because they're wearing armor or something like that.
Well, I know in the New Vegas trailers, like they never showed his face.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
But I think the thing is with Fallout 3 and New Vegas is they didn't focus so much on the character. At Fallout 4, like they had a little montage of him dressing up. They had they had him interacting with the dog. They had him showing his face. They had him talking and everything.
Yeah, you're right. I felt like it would have been better to show. They could have showed off the character creation system and showed like each segment with a wildly different looking character just to show the variety of characters that you could make with that system.
Well, they did eventually release a trailer with the female Vault Dweller, except that was after the release of the game had already been out.
Yeah.
And there was this dumb thing. Either, immature fans on the internet kept making inappropriate comments about the female character's butt, or her butt was literally enhanced in size for the trailer. I'm not sure which is worse, but I'm sad either way.
And Yeah, I completely agree with that. I am also sad because as a woman, that's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see what we got next to talk about. Oh, okay. Wasted resources. I mean, you can look at this behind the credits, you see everything in the background. How many resources did they waste redesigning crap? I get this is a new game with enhanced and better graphics than the past Fallout games. But that does not mean you look at those Nuka-Cola bottles on the floor. It does not mean you needed to redesign everything. And some of you might like the redesigns, but I think there's many problems with this. One, story, it makes no sense. Last time Bethesda made a Fallout game, Fallout 3, they did the exact same thing. But I could kind of forgive them for that because they were bringing it into a 3D environment, so naturally some design changes might happen.
Yeah, exactly.
But they already had their assets from 3 in New Vegas. And they decided to redesign everything again? Story-wise, that makes no sense. Why does Boston have unique versions of everything?
Yeah,
They tried to explain it with Nuka-Cola way at the end, but that was only a sliver of the whole issue.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't bother trying to refute that claim by saying, "Oh, well, they needed to make them anyway. Why not make them cooler as well or redesign them?" I'm like, no, because a lot more work goes into that. Look, if all you're going to do is take an existing Nuka-Cola bottle, the existing design, and up-res it, that's some work. But for the talented artists that work on this, that's no problem. If you're going to redesign it, you have to do sketches, you got to brainstorm, and then you got to make an entirely new design.
Mm-hmm. And completely new assets.
And you can tell because there were very few things that they decided to keep the original design of. And that's the laser rifle, the Fat Man. And I think that's really it. I mean, there are other things that keep elements like the power armor and the Mr. Handy, but I don't have much of a problem with those because they still resemble it. But there are some that are just completely changed, like the plasma rifle. That looks nothing at all like it. The Pip-Boy.
Yeah, I completely agree that it was wasted time and resources redesigning all that stuff because you already had the iconic designs from the previous games. Why change it?
Well, the only reason they kept the iconic ones is because they knew that there would be, a backlash to changing those.
Yeah,
change the ones that no one cares about.
Yeah.
That's what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
Okay, so next. Speaking of power armor, in the game, you get a free one.
Yeah, right at the beginning, too.
Yeah, power armor is supposed to be like the rarest thing in the wasteland.
Because, what was it? It was a military use?
Yes, and instead, in the game, you get a free one right out of the gate.
Exactly, and that's just not realistic. Because
they tried to give you a bad one, but even a bad one is power armor.
Exactly, and you know what? In previous games, you can tell power armor was really rare because it was a military equipment, and military equipment is not that easily obtainable.
Except in Fallout 4.
Except in Fallout 4. And it's just like, it feels like they cheapen the whole thing of power armor. Because what was it, in Fallout 3 or New Vegas, was at one point you had to get a specific perk or have to do a very specific thing to even be able to wear power armor.
Power armor training. You had to be trained by the people who knew how to use it.
Exactly, to even wear it.
And the only way you can get T-45 is if you actually got it from the Brotherhood. The only way you can get T-51, there was only one of them in the game. T-60 didn't even exist, by the way, which apparently was released on, seriously, originally there was only T-45. Then they had T-51 saying, oh, T-51 was the peak of power armor, released just before the war. And then T-60 now in Fallout 4 is like, oh, it was the peak of power armor, released the day before the bombs fell. Fallout 5, they're going to have T-70. They're going to be like, oh, it was released the minute before the bombs fell.
But, yeah, I feel like it's changed a lot from, having to do the Brotherhood and have that specific training to be able to wear it to getting a free suit almost right at the beginning of the game.
But it wasn't just the power armor. After the game shows its awesomeness with the intro cutscene and whatnot, it starts then just giving you free stuff, trying to show you the system. Oh, here's a settlement right away. Oh, here's power armor. Oh, here is a free companion.
Yeah.
Now, okay, that being said, though, the power armor system of entering it, I think that was really cool.
I agree. And the whole repairing it and, having the fusion cores and stuff. I think the system is really cool.
I just feel I would have liked it better if I had earned it.
Yeah, I agree. And also, like, they didn't have to make it as tough, in, like you said, there was only, like, one suit in the whole game. But I feel like they could have made it at least a little bit tougher. Maybe make a quest to go have to steal it from the Brotherhood or intercept a suit or anything like that to be able to get it.
Oh, hey, apparently if we duplicate the sound files that play the radio songs in this game, we'll be breaking the law. Or at least violating the credits. Oh,
Yeah.
no.
But anyway, yeah. I felt like they could have made the power armor cooler if they would have made you go specifically on a quest to get it.
I think they also made it way too common. By the end of the game, I had so many of those things.
Exactly. We had a suit for each companion plus extras for us.
I mean, in the past games, T-45 was really common, sure. But even the rare variants, we kept getting so many of.
I know. We had 5 suits for just us?
A lot.
Vim, Nuka-Cola,
Probably.
and then at least 4 for just us, and then 1 for each of our companions.
Oh, we should have mixed it up and had like a Vim Nuka-Cola hybrid.
Maybe.
But, okay, so power armor, yes. Now let's talk about dog crap.
Dog meat.
Dog crap. The first companion you get in the game. Dog crap. Oh, okay, let's evaluate him as a character. He has nothing.
He's a dog. He's not supposed
That's
to.
it. All he does is the cuteness. That's all he is. I am surprised they didn't just literally give you a kitten and say, here, internet, it's a kitten. No. They give you dog meat. Okay, first, it's just a dog when you find it. Okay? It's a free companion. Whoa, a dog, because everyone loves dogs. And, if you throw in a cute, lovable animal mascot, it'll instantly make your game more popular, right? But not only, like in previous games, the dog companion, you had to work for it. Rex, the previous dog meat in Fallout 3.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely true. In Fallout 3, dog meat was really hard to find.
Yeah.
And then Rex, you have to go with the kings.
Yep.
And there's a whole quest associated with Rex that you have to do.
And you get dog meat literally upon leaving the starting town.
Yeah, and you literally don't do anything else with him unless you decide to bring him around.
Yeah, he contributes nothing to the story, does absolutely nothing, except he does magic. Because apparently he's dog meat because he's the great descendant of the previous dog meat, which was a descendant of the previous dog meat.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how you find this out? From talking to a drugged out psychic lady. By the way, psychics are a thing in Fallout now. Yeah. Who knew? I mean, we've had psychics before, but usually they had to have like some type of technology ring on their head. Not just, take drugs.
Yeah, exactly.
It's annoying. I hate dog meat. I hate him.
Okay.
Okay, so we just played the credits. So thank you all you people for working on this. I'm sure many of you are talented, and many of you didn't make the decisions that we're complaining about. So we're just going to Kira's just going to start playing a new game while we continue to talk.
But what about all the audio?
It's muted. Just play a new game.
Oh, okay.
Why are achievements disabled? Okay, now, one thing they had was their robust crafting system.
Yes.
That was really well done.
I agree. And the weapons.
Yeah. Like the weapon crafting, the power armor, the armor. Okay, actually, you know what? The armor one was kind of crap.
I agree with
but
that
But the other ones were pretty good.
And the whole mod system.
What mod system?
Weapon mods.
So yeah, the weapon crafting system.
Yes. It like how far it goes into detail on each weapon is really, really cool.
Yeah, I think so. And I think it left room for mods to come in and add like so many more.
I
Just
agree.
building that system was the nostalgia from this cutscene. Back when I was so full of hope and naivete. World War II is so dramatized.
Let's keep going.
Sorry. Okay. The one thing with the weapons, though, was that the weapon system with the combat, how much work they put into that, it was actually too good, I think.
The combat system?
Yeah, you could definitely tell they spent a lot of time on that. And a lot of you might even think, like, yeah, that was awesome. It was amazing. I disagree. Because while, yes, it was a very well done system, they put a lot of work into it. Who ever played Fallout asking for it to be a better combat game? I mean, I get some people might have, but I would be willing to bet those people are in the minority. Because, I mean, look at how popular the past Fallout games were. And yes, there were popular mods that made it a lot more combat focused. But there was many more that focused on other aspects of the game, meaning most people were fine playing without that.
Exactly. And, you know, what you said, like, who wanted Fallout to be a better FPS?
Yeah, I felt like they were just trying to appease the Call of Duty fans out there.
Exactly. They just made it a better first-person shooter, and then everything... I feel like everything else suffered for all their work on that
no,
system.
it did. You can tell it's definitely where they focused, and so they cut so many RPG mechanics, which honestly is what made Fallout a success. Fallout was an RPG before it was ever an FPS.
I agree.
And it only became, when it was 3D, it became an RPG and an FPS. And that's something that really stood out from it compared to all the other games out there. Except, they also made, Elder Scrolls, but blah. One thing also that kind of related to the combat system was the health and radiation system. That's something that they changed in Fallout 4. That honestly was a really good take on it, separation from 3 in New Vegas. Because
I agree.
A problem in 3 in New Vegas was that radiation really didn't matter. As long as you didn't max it out, you were fine. So taking away from your health, that was just it's small, but that was a small decision I think paid off very well.
Yeah, I agree, because, in the previous games, the radiation system didn't matter at all.
Yeah, just pick a female.
Just ignore it.
Just pick a female. Just pick whatever face you want. If you want to play around, that's fine.
Okay.
So speaking of cutting FPS or RPG mechanics, what do you think about perks and skills?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so they got rid of skills, which was the absolute worst thing they could have done, I felt, because then all you have are the perks and special. And
Special?
the special, like the
special system.
Yeah, the special system. And it was ridiculous that they cut the skills, because that meant that they really
Well, okay, look. Previously in the Fallout games, whenever you leveled up, you got to increase a skill in something, as well as a perk. Since they have no skills in Fallout 4, the only way to increase them is via a perk that increases your skill. They have one for, like, punching things, one for shooting things, one for meleeing, so forth. Things that represent what skills used to represent. So now anytime you level up, you have to decide, do I want to increase my stats, or do I want to actually get something kind of cool?
Yeah, exactly. And the whole getting rid of the stats is just awful, because you have no idea exactly what your skill level is in any specific thing anymore.
You can check how many stars you got.
And something about this, I know you hate Elder Scrolls, but something about this that's similar to Skyrim is that they they went the opposite way. They got rid of what would be the special system and then kept the individual skills. And that was awful too. I just think Bethesda cannot get the whole skill system or attributes or anything like that right.
Well, they say if it's not broken, don't fix it. Ah, whoa, look at that glitch. Hey,
What?
look. We got two Codsworths. That's fun.
Yeah.
Oh, well. We're rich. We can afford to.
Apparently.
Okay, so what were we gonna say next? Oh yeah. So yeah, if it's not broken, don't fix it. That's basically what I feel about the whole perk system. Oh, not to mention that whole perk poster looked cool, but considering how much these Fallout games are pushed to create modability, which Bethesda, I'm thankful for, but doesn't mean I'm gonna overlook the other things. Okay, you get one good point, add to the few other good things we've said. But crap, what was my point?
I don't
Modability.
know.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
You that poster. How are you supposed to add modded perks to that?
Yeah. You know what that is? That is true.
I have not seen a single mod that does it.
Yeah, in mods in New Vegas and Fallout 3,
We got hundreds.
Yeah, they could completely overhaul the perk system or the skill system,
Or just add perks
separately, or just add new perks.
But this perk thing is baked into it, at least with that poster. I mean, the only thing I can imagine is someone that makes like an alternative perk poster and you can switch between the two.
Exactly. That's the only thing I can think of. But overall, I think getting rid of the skills was just a huge mistake.
One thing with this beginning thing, though, that really bugs me is that it's kind of related to the lack of skills. There is no role playing in this game.
You know what? You're right, because from the beginning, you're told that if you're the girl, you're a lawyer, married to, if you're the guy, a veteran.
And no matter what, you're a sole survivor looking for their son for vengeance.
Exactly. And you have the son.
Remember when we saw Kellogg? We didn't want to be vengeful. We wanted to, hear him out. But no, our character was vengeful. We didn't have a choice.
Exactly. There's so many points in the story when it doesn't give you a choice at all.
Yeah, and so there's just, especially with this whole setup, Fallout 3, you were raised in a vault. Sure, in New Vegas, you were a courier. But after that point, you could choose whoever you wanted to become. In this game, it's just who do you kill?
Exactly. You know what? You're right.
Or who do you bribe? And so that kind of leads us to the dialogue. Can you go have like a conversation with someone real quick just to show it?
Yeah, all right.
No, I guess we can't do that. Oh, the door. Go to the door. Go to the door. Okay, come on. Okay, this dialogue system is a joke, and I'm sure many of you might have already known this. This is very obvious, but I was still talking about it.
Okay.
But the whole dialogue wheel thing is something they might play off as done for aesthetics. It might have been done to simulate the 4-button dialogue wheel buttons on a controller. However, Fallout has a huge PC following. This completely ignores what they would want.
Exactly, because it completely gets rid of any possibility of adding dialogue options or anything like that, because you can't add more than 4. You can change the 4 that are there, but you can't add anything additional to that.
Well, those reasonings may have been somewhat true, but I think it's mostly a facade. I think there was one large reason they did it that was the real reason behind making that decision to have that dialogue wheel. And that was because they had a very limited story and they wanted to hide it.
I completely agree.
If they had a dialogue box like the other Fallout games did, you would notice there was only ever 4 options at a time or less.
Exactly.
I mean, we've played New Vegas mods where there's only one option there. And it's like, oh, guess we'll have to say that.
Yeah, and also something about that. If you had that system with the 4 lines, there's another thing, because these lines, the way they show it, are just so short. and you would really notice that they barely wrote any dialogue.
Oh, yeah, there's been several times we clicked on something and it turns out they said something completely different because
Yeah.
the summary would led to a false conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I really think this entire dialogue system was meant to obfuscate how linear the game was.
Exactly. There's so many times when it literally does not matter which dialogue choice.
Yeah, they're just
you
stage
pick.
directions. Like, you're talking to the Institute. I love slavery. That's great. Let's go do it. No, I hate slavery. No, you're wrong. Let's go do it.
Yeah.
What is slavery? Oh, it's what we do. Let's go do it.
Yeah,
It's just
exactly.
stage directions.
Exactly. There's usually one option to ask a question, one option to make a joke or something sarcastic, one option to agree, one option to disagree, and sometimes none of
question.
those options actually do anything.
Yep. Okay, so more specifically, though, when it comes to interaction, dialogue, the companions, I think on the most part were a positive experience.
Mm-hmm.
The individual companions and their characters, I think for the most part was well done. There were a few characters I think that were lacking, but there was a lot that I think were really strong, like Nick, for example,
Oh yeah, definitely.
and Piper, at least early on.
Mm-hmm.
But and I loved Codsworth.
I know Codsworth was a really good companion.
Yeah, I mean, I know he only had so much dialogue with you, but I felt like he meant it.
Yeah, I agree.
And oh, the companion system of dealing with them was also pretty well done. I think it was constrained by the dialogue system, but I felt that the way the companions would swap out, tell them where to go, command them. I think that was well done.
Can you type out a name?
Oh, but are you listening?
Yeah, I agree. And honestly, like Piper was one of my favorites. Really? You could at least pick something that Codsworth can say.
What is in Cosworth's list? Crap. How do I don't.
Just do Kate.
I can't type.
Oh. There.
We already did Kate.
I don't know, do Lily. That should be simple enough. There.
It's dumb. But okay, so yeah, that's pretty much what's. Oh no, wait, the romance for the companions, romance for anyone, horrible, horrible, horrible.
Exactly, because you know what? You just flirt with them.
They're just extra dialogue options that are somewhat flirtatious.
Yeah, and then suddenly you end up being able to sleep with them.
And by sleep, it means it fades to black and you wake up near a bed. Like,
Exactly.
It doesn't even have like a waking up from bed animation or anything.
Exactly. And you know what else? The whole romance system, when you flirt with them, every single one of them acts as if they never even thought of you as a possible romantic.
Yeah, they always play up for like, wow, Nick, I think you're really attractive. What? Oh, what? No. Whoa, what?
Exactly. Even the ones that you would think would be promiscuous and would flirt back.
Like literally, like Kate was talking about like what was it, like Piper's butt or something? She was making flirtatious comments to her, and then our female character hits on Kate saying like, "I'd like to know you more intimately," and she's like, "Whoa, what?" Like all of them respond that way.
Exactly, and it's ridiculous because first of all, in a real situation like that, you would definitely know, like, if there was any possible tension between you, any possible romantic relationship, and you would react to that. You wouldn't just act like you were being blindsided.
I would have found it more forgivable if, like, at least one character was just like you hit on them and then they hit on you back and they just keep it going.
Exactly. If even one character was like that, it would have been forgivable just because it would have been realistic. And, maybe in post-apocalypse, romance isn't that much of a thing, so not many people would be okay with, that. But
I legitimately thought we were going to go on a date with Magnolia, maybe take a walk around or something.
Exactly, yeah.
No, apparently dating is just what they call sleeping with someone.
Exactly, like the language they use with her is she specifically says, like, go out on a date.
Yeah, the language does not match the gameplay.
Exactly.
Okay, I think we threw enough crap on that.
Oh, come on. We admitted that most of the companions were good.
I think they would have been better off if they just had a romance quest.
Exactly. Like, it would have been so simple to just take someone somewhere, like, follow someone to sit in a place and then have a conversation with them. That would be super easy to script, and that would be super easy to, just flesh out any possible romances.
Okay, and so if you don't mind, I'd like to move on.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about some of the more, the other quests besides companions that are in this game, the other themes.
Mm-hmm.
America.
America.
Now, don't get me wrong, this has been something that Fallout has tackled quite often in the past. It's the whole main theme of this game is this is the future as the people of the 50s and 60s thought it would be. Mm-hmm. So American zealotism and patriotism really comes into that.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
But I think there's a difference between kind of like a satire of American patriotism to the earnest brainwashing of it.
Exactly.
Because there's many times in this game when they're just kind of going off America, America, and they don't really have a point, you know?
Like
I remember in like the old Fallout games, there was a sign that said, gas, only $19.99.99.
Mm-hmm.
And they were making a statement with that.
Exactly.
So I've probably put it in the title or description or something, but I really feel Fallout 4 is the video game of propaganda, or rather propaganda the video game.
Mm-hmm.
All that marketing, all that hype, propaganda to get you to buy the game. Who cares if you like it after you've gone past the intro? You've already bought it.
Exactly.
So not only that, though, it goes into the theme as well, American patriotism. Look, it's okay if you like America and what it stands for, but blind patriotism, no matter what country you're in, only leads to bad things. Because then you stop trying to protect those freedoms that you have. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing that Fallout does a lot, but there's just so many times. Like, for example, the Revolutionary War. We're in Boston. And the game would have you believe that the Revolutionary War was the only thing of importance that ever happened in Boston.
Exactly. Like, what? There's one museum to it?
No, there's several. And not only that, but like Lexington and Concord, you got the Minutemen, which are named after it, which makes really no sense. I guess maybe someone went to a museum and was like, I like those guys. Let's make a faction based on them. And they had the whole British redcoat thing. So, and you know what? Honestly, guys, okay, I hope I don't get too much flack for this, especially after those America comments, but the Revolutionary War is like one of the most propagandized wars in all of American history.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely.
I'm so sick of it getting shoved down my throat. I took the Revolutionary War in my history class for like 5 times growing up in my education. Because they just always keep teaching it to you, and it's always the same crap. The Boston Massacre. Did you know, some of you guys might know, if any of our British viewers, the Boston Massacre is taught very differently depending on what country you're in. In America, they often just say like, oh yeah, British soldiers fired on American civilians, massacring them. We decided this won't stand. They don't even talk about it any further in that. And from what I've heard, in Britain, they kind of play it more like Americans kind of freaked out over nothing kind of thing.
Really? I've never heard of that. But, American education, so...
Well, I mean, it's probably going to vary. American education varies. I'm sure British does. But there are legitimately schools that play it off that way. Mm-hmm. I don't know the percentage and how many or anything, but I think it just kind of shows you that we don't even question it. Realistically, you know what happened? 13 civilians died in a riot. There was a riot where they were purposefully agitating the British soldiers. Mm-hmm. And the British soldiers freaked out and shot. It was a lot like a school shooting, an accidental, like one where the police accidentally fired into a crowd. Where, very controversial, police probably in the wrong, don't get me wrong. But you can also make the argument that the others were kind of inciting them. So I feel like it's a more or a gray area that we just kind of blatantly say, "Go America!"
Yeah, exactly.
And I just every time I see it in this game, I just the railroad really. The railroad has such a revolutionary theme to it, like the whole fall, like the Red Lanterns and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
The British are coming, the British are coming, but they're called the railroad, like the Underground Railroad.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is Civil War, right? So that
Yeah,
doesn't even
that's
match. I don't know. I mean,
the whole enclave is, all about patriotism, and sometimes they don't make any sense.
They didn't even make an appearance in this game. All you get is their power armor.
You know what? That's true.
And you get
never see any enclave in this entire game.
You get their old power armor. You don't even get their new stuff.
Yeah.
I felt like if they were going to do patriotism, it might have been done well that way.
Mm-hmm. Just by having the enclave and having them actually show you what patriotism leads to, or anything similar to that.
Well, you have to keep in mind the Fallout games, they have their ideals, sure, but it's also what brought about their ruin.
Mm-hmm.
So often ideas like democracy and whatnot are challenged in the Fallout games. So sometimes the Fallout games can actually be a lot more progressive than you would think. Kind of like how gender doesn't matter in relationships anymore in the apocalypse.
Yeah, that's true.
So you would kind of expect something regarding blind patriotism. It reminds me of the line in Fallout 3 that I thought was really cool, where this guy was saying, like, "God bless America and nowhere else." Which is legitimately what a lot of people think.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah. Propaganda. Okay, so let's talk about the factions.
Yeah.
The Minutemen are a joke. Total joke.
They're just generic good guys.
Oh, I will say I did like having factions. Fallout 3 didn't really have factions. Just good and bad.
Oh, yeah, true.
New Vegas introduced that idea, so it's the one thing they took from New Vegas.
Yeah, I agree.
But, well, not the one thing, but still.
Mm-hmm.
But the factions were just so linear.
Mm-hmm.
The Minutemen are just cookie-cutter good guys. They don't stand for anything. They don't have any principles, any philosophies. They are the settlement guys.
Yeah.
And that's why people are so annoyed at Preston. All his Radiant quests. The Brotherhood are basically Nazis.
Yeah.
Set on genocide. Now, I think that was a cool twist. The Brotherhood's usually good guys, as Bethesda makes them. So having them turn bad guys is kind of interesting of a twist. But still, their storyline was so linear. Mm-hmm. But I'll forgive them a bit because they are stubborn idiots. And that's how they are supposed to be. That's their character. That's how they were written.
Mm-hmm.
What's less forgivable is the Railroad. I love the Railroad's ideal and philosophy. I think that was done pretty good.
Yeah, and I definitely like the Railroad for more than that.
But why would they destroy the Institute? That makes no sense at all.
Exactly.
It's like the entire time Desdemona was trying to justify it, I just kept hearing, yeah, well, we only programmed in like one ending, blowing up the Institute. You can either do that or just not do that.
Exactly.
But even then, why can't we? Can't we just invade the Institute, and not blow it up? Use it as a base of operations? You basically neutered your beloved synths. How are they supposed to reproduce?
Exactly. And all the technology in this Institute can be used for good. It's just that no one is willing to actually step up and do it.
And that's why I hate the Institute. Oh, you're doing slavery. No, we're not. Yes, you are. No, you're not. Yes, you are. No matter what you tell them, no matter if you object every single time as the director of the Institute.
It doesn't matter because they don't care what you say.
I appreciate having the capability to object to what they're doing, but this is supposed to be an RPG where your choices matter.
And your choices don't matter with them because the Institute's just going to keep doing what it does.
Oh, don't even get me started on Radiant quests.
Oh my gosh.
Radiant quests are basically pre-programmed and kill things quests. Most of the time they're kill things. Actually, Is there a single time where they're not? I don't think so. I think even if you're supposed to just go get something, you have to kill things to get there.
You know what? You're right.
Yeah. They just throw bad guys in like every dungeon. And Radiant Quest, they disguise themselves. They pretend to be regular quests in order to bloat the quest count to make you think there's more quests than there really are. Until you've done it, and maybe even done it over and over again, thinking that this is how it was supposed to be, and you realize you've wasted your time.
You know what? Yes. And also, something about that, Skyrim did have Radiant Quest 2, but they were all under Misk. So you could completely ignore them if you wanted to, because you knew that they were Radiant because they were under Misk.
And that would have been fine for me, because that would be like, hey, here's some Radiant quests. Yeah, they're pre-programmed and repeatable, but here they are. They're over here in this section. Do them if you want. If you don't,
Exactly. You know what? They were there in case you wanted to go earn money or anything like that.
Yeah, but in this game, they try to lie to you.
Exactly.
Propaganda!
They really do try to lie to you because they make him seem like they're real quests.
Okay, are you ready to talk about the worst quest in the entire game?
All right.
Bleeping magic.
You shouldn't let me say that.
Okay, say it.
Fucking magic.
There you go. But, yeah. So apparently the Elder Scrolls makes an appearance in Fallout.
Oh, shut up, okay? Elder Scrolls has nothing with immortality in it. Fine.
But still, yeah, you literally become immortal. Not only was that whole quest horrible and was very cookie cutter good and evil, and so even when we tried to question it, it turns out, nope, there's no twist. You may have done what was legally the right thing, but you sided with the villain. You should have known he was a villain. Look at the way he's talking. He's obviously a villain.
And there's nothing you can do about it, really.
No, except you can choose to become immortal or be the good guy.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the whole magic thing. Oh, he's 400 years old. Well, was that Bethesda's dig at Robert House? Is that like saying, like, see, now we have the oldest character in the Fallout universe? Ha ha ha.
I would not be surprised if that was the case.
So that's most of what we had to say about the quests.
Mm-hmm.
There were a few other things that annoyed me. Just to throw a good thing in here every once in a while so we're not giving them too much crap. I do think the artist did well. I hate that they had to redesign so much, but, I mean, like, look at these graphics, the meshes, the textures. There were definitely some talented people working on this stuff.
Yeah, I definitely
Now,
agree.
personally, as an animator, I like looking out for the animations. I wish there was more of them, but hey, if I have to get my fix from a Radroach scuttling, then that's what I'm gonna do.
And for me, I really like the Gek is the whole huge thing for me.
Oh, I didn't even mention that. The Gek for New Vegas was released a month after it was released.
And I think
for Fallout 3 was like a few months.
2 months.
2? Okay. Fallout 4 took half a year before they released the Gek.
And you know what? Something about that I was thinking about. The Gek, they develop that thing first. That's what they use to make the game. They just modify it before they actually release it.
Or they hold on to it to try to get a resurgence of players.
Exactly.
Instead of having one big peak, they have one peak of release. They wait a while until they release the Gek and they get another peak of sales.
Exactly. And it's ridiculous because they've had that Gek this entire time. I know they did because that's what they used to develop the game, or at least they create that engine, the basis for it, to develop the game first. That's the first thing they do.
Okay, well, let's talk about some of the other issues in the game. The loading screens, very spoilery. They don't matter much once you've played the game a few times. When you're playing the game for the first time, it ruins so much.
Yeah.
Especially since they've redesigned everything. Even if you've played Fallout before, you haven't seen the redesigns yet, and they just give it away.
You know what? You're right. They really do give that stuff away. I mean, I'm not as big on spoilers since it's Fallout, you know.
Well, like, remember when it showed us the Assaultron? You have any idea, like, how freaked out we would have been if that was the first time we ever saw one of those was when it was running towards us?
Yeah, because they are really, really freaking scary.
Also, all the radio music in this game, well, not all of it, but it feels like half of it. I mean, I am betting half of it is literally reused from Fallout 3.
Yes, I also agree with that. Just because I don't want to set the world on
Please.
fire. It's my favorite song from
Look,
that.
I don't mind
But
them
it's
reusing.
in this one too.
I don't mind them reusing music, but they should have gotten more. It felt like they just kind of relied on the existing licenses they already had.
Exactly. I feel like it wouldn't have been a bad thing if they had one station that just played the old music, but they should have added their own tracks too, new songs.
But and licensed music costs so much, then I don't make your own. It's a Fallout alternate divergent timeline.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I get they had Magnolia's songs, but that wasn't the same at all.
Yeah.
Oh, and on the topic of sound, holotapes really are not considered voice, they're considered sound effects. We had to adjust our volume constantly because of that until we got a mod to fix it.
Exactly. And it's ridiculous because, it is.
Okay. Let's take a break. Breather. Okay. Can we think of a good thing to throw in here now? I feel like we've run out of all of our good things to say.
Some of the holotapes were actually done really well in that they added to the story more than other aspects of the whole thing. Because the majority...
I'll agree with that. I think they had more voiced holotapes than either of the previous games.
Yes, and they were what really added to the story because, the story wasn't that much to begin with. But, you know what? I agree that the holotapes were a big part of adding to the story and making it, adding more details and just giving us a better perspective on what was going on.
Well, I think we should talk about the DLC season.
The season pass?
Yes.
Okay.
It was a scam. In-and-out scam.
Okay, but you have to admit it was nice of them to tell you that the price was increasing before they released the last DLC.
Had they been telling the truth, maybe. But they were lying.
What were they lying about?
Okay. So, just to inform you guys in case you don't know what happened. They had announced releasing DLC, and they came out of... And then they sold a season pass. The thing is, they were selling the season pass before the game was even released.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
We didn't buy it because we're of the opinion that you don't buy something until you have a reason to.
Mm-hmm.
So until we see the DLC, we don't want to buy a season pass.
I didn't realize that the season pass they're selling it before.
It was in for $30.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because that's how much they value the season pass, which honestly is a fair value. Considering the amount of DLC in retrospect that they released.
Mm-hmm. But you didn't know that.
No one knew.
Yeah.
And so they come out with an announcement right before releasing any of their DLC that, you know what, we've decided we're going to make so much DLC that we're going to increase the price of the season pass to reflect how much DLC we're going to be making. That's what they said. Yeah. I'm paraphrasing, but that is what they said.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going to increase the price, but we're not going to do it right away. So feel free to go ahead and purchase your season pass if you hadn't. They experienced a huge increase in sales of their season pass right at that moment.
Oh, because it makes them look like they were being nice about it. But
it's nice extortion.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like the mafia saying like, you better buy my protection services right now because price is going up next week. And I don't know if you're going to be able to afford it then.
Yeah.
But don't worry. It's going to be a good deal. Because either way, the price increase is reminiscent of the increase in services. I promise. I'm going to give you...
Okay, please stop talking like that. It's really creepy.
Sorry, is my Vafia voice not very good?
No, it's good. It's too good. Creeps me out.
Okay, let's try Yakuza.
No.
So yeah, that's what it really... I mean, at the time, I didn't see it that way, but in retrospect, it's so obvious.
Yeah, exactly.
How did we not have that achievement yet?
What?
War never changed. But
because...
it disables it and crap, but whatever. Okay, so, what was I going to say? Maybe I forget.
You're talking about the season pass in retrospect?
Yes. Because they claimed they were going to make so much. You know what they gave us? They gave us 2.5 DLCs. Less than any previous 3D Fallout game to date.
Yeah.
Fallout 3 had 5 DLC.
Really?
Yes. The Pit, Point Lookout, Mothership Zeta, Broken Steel. What was the other one? The Pit. Well, at least 4. I think I'm forgetting one. Operation Anchorage. There we go.
Oh, yeah. And
New Vegas had 4 main DLCs.
And they were amazing.
And 5 part packs.
Yeah.
They had Dead Money, Honest Hearts, Old World Blues, Lonesome Road. Then they had Gunrunner's Arsenal, the Tribal Pack, the Mercenary Pack, the Caravan Pack, and the Courier Pack, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So 5 part packs and 4 real DLCs. Fallout 4 gave us Far Harbor, Nuka World, Automatron. That's Automatron being a half of a normal DLC size. That's why it was cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 2.5 DLC and 3 part packs.
Yeah, that is ridiculous.
And they justified selling that to you for like $50 or $60 after the increase.
That's
the thing
insane.
is, they didn't need the $50 or $60.
No,
they were just making money off of the procrastinators.
Yeah.
And they were trying to make a ton of money off of the people who bought it last minute before the price increase. That was their true goal.
Mm-hmm.
Look, any of you guys, any developers out there who by some miracle are watching our video, we love you guys. And I am jealous of your job. I would kill to have worked on this game. Not literally. I would have killed raiders or something. But some of you marketing guys, why? I mean, did you really just not care about people? Was it all about the money? I don't get it.
It's the marketing department. They could have had no choice but to do what Bethesda wanted to make the most money.
I can't help but wince anytime I see Todd Howard now. Just because of the lies, the propaganda.
Okay.
I keep throwing in that word. And we talked about the GEC. You know, is it weird that the GEC was released right about the same time the season pass increase was announced?
I don't know.
I don't think it's weird at all. I think it was planned that way.
Maybe, yeah.
I should get a tinfoil top out. That way, I can be paranoid in style.
Okay.
And the Bethesda.net thing was a disaster.
Yes, the Bethesda Net thing actually came to Skyrim first, and it was a disaster then because
Really?
yes, because people would steal mods and upload them to Bethesda Net without the original mod maker's permission, not even knowing that the mod might not even function on a console because a console might not be able to handle what was in the mod. So that really discredits the mod author if their mod just breaks your game on the console. And there were lots of people just uploading many different mods to Bethesda.net.
Well, the exact same thing happened with Fallout 4.
Exactly, and the exact same thing happened. And that's the thing. You know, it came to Skyrim first. It was a huge disaster. And then they didn't bother to fix anything and did the same thing with Fallout 4.
Yeah, it was quite a big serious issue. Everyone was worried about their mods being stolen.
Yeah, and it really riles me up because I've made mods for other games before. I know how much work modding takes, and just uploading them without their permission and doing stuff like that is ridiculous, especially for consoles, because a lot of the time mods need a special console edition to be able to even work. You know, the more
complex they are.
Yeah, the more complex
i.e. the best ones.
Exactly. And the console doesn't have the script extender, which is required for a lot of mods. So, you know, it's just ridiculous.
Short-sighted.
Yeah, exactly. And there was no moderation to the whole thing. It was like one person was in charge of moderating the entire thing. So nothing would actually get done if modder reported that their mod was uploaded without their permission.
Oh, not to mention, they promised it would come out to all consoles before Sony had even like really agreed, or maybe Sony had agreed, but they actually, I don't really know. But just knowing Bethesda and how upfront they promise things, I would be willing to bet Sony hadn't even really made a decision yet, and they already said, yeah, this is totally gonna be on PS4.
Exactly.
And then they made Sony look like the bad guy when Sony's like, no, it's not.
Mm-hmm. Sony probably didn't want that disaster of a mod system on their console.
Ever since they've been hacked so many times, they've been really worried about security, and honestly, probably a bit too much so. I don't think they really have all their eggs in order there. I don't think mods would have really jeopardized that too much, but yeah, the same thing's happening with the Nintendo Switch right now, with Skyrim coming out on the Nintendo Switch. Nintendo announced that Skyrim was going to be on in their official trailers for their new console, and Bethesda denied it. They said, we don't know about that.
And you know what? Even if they do release it for Switch, they're going to have to make some modifications to the base game, and it's not going to be the special edition, just to be able to work on the Switch.
Well, Bethesda's flip-flopped again, saying, yeah, no, it'll totally be on it. But I was like, what was up there with you denying it at one point?
Yeah, and it doesn't even matter, because either way, you're still going to get an inferior version than even all the other consoles, let alone PC.
True, but I mean, it's the Switch. We'll see. We don't know yet. We'll wait. Let's circle back to Fallout 4.
Yeah.
Okay, settlements. First of all, the settlement system was amazing.
I agree.
It had significant shortfalls, but even that, it was still worth it.
Mm-hmm.
I wish there was more to get out of it. I wish there was more stuff to it. I wish that some of the limitations were in it. But even so, we managed to create a huge sanctuary settlement that was pretty fun.
Mm-hmm. And something about that, though, is about the settlement system. It would be so much cooler if you're right, if you got more out of it. I think it would be the best if, like, you could recruit anyone you wanted and take them out with you on the waste, or and you could make an army of companions that way, or something like that, or anything else other than literally you build up the settlement, you put stuff into it, and then that's it. You know?
Once you have a certain amount of defense, you never get attacked anymore.
Exactly.
I would have loved for the more defenses I get, it might become rarer, but still I'd have a chance of going against a really strong opponent. Or at least maybe somewhere in the options of turning that on or off, because I would have loved to try to defend something against the castle.
Mm-hmm.
And then the DLC settlement packs were horrible. I mean, really. You call those DLC? Yeah. I mean, I get New Vegas had a few, but they didn't try to pass them off as real DLC.
Did we find this?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
You just don't remember.
Yeah.
But, they weren't even worth it. They didn't do anything in the game, just increase the kind of tools you could use to build with, which so many mods already did so much better.
Yeah, and the whole building thing, it's like
Bethesda, you're supposed to be the professionals. You're supposed to come out with content that no one else can do.
Exactly, and they didn't. Because, actually, is there anything more you want to say about the settlement system? Because that's the perfect segue into, what they did about the
what? The what?
Stealing the mod. The idea. Because they're supposed to do things that no one else can do, yet they took an idea from a mod author.
Yeah, and the Far Harbor DLC, the Brain Dead quest. Well, okay, you know what? Let me just explain what this quest was compared to the alternative. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
You go into a vault, and inside the vault are robots that have been around since before the war. They each have unique personalities and professions that they practice. You find out that someone has been killed. They've been murdered. And you must do a robot murder mystery to solve and figure out who done it.
Mm-hmm.
In New Vegas, there was a mod called Autumn Leaves, where you went into a vault. And in the vault, you found robots that had been there since before the war, each of which had a unique personality and profession. And someone had been killed, and you have to do a robot murder mystery to figure out who done it.
Also, something that's really different between them is that in Autumn Leaves, the robots had AI, and that was their personalities. In the Quest and Fallout 4, they were robo brains, so their brains were from actual people.
But that's just a detail. I mean,
Well,
they
Autumn Leaves-
changed which type of robot it was. Oh, so they're safe now? No.
No, I'm saying that it devalued it because it took away the whole aspect of Autumn Leaves, which
Oh yeah, because they're all like questioning intelligence.
exactly, and questioning, if the AI can be advanced enough that they have a soul and all that stuff.
Well, what are you going to do? Autumn Leaves was like a 8-hour quest. Brain Dead was a 1-hour quest.
Yeah.
They really summarized it. They really squished it together.
Yeah.
And to make matters worse, even the layout of the vault itself resembled the one in Autumn Leaves.
You know what? It did.
Yeah.
It had that
like,
main room.
The mod author took side-by-side screenshots showing the comparisons.
Yeah.
You know what? It's not even bad that they wanted to reference a mod, but some recognition would be nice instead of passing off that content as your own. And even so, you'd think they would create a unique flair on it, and I do not think making RoboBrains counts.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, it really made it worse because, like I said, with RoboBrains, they completely eliminated that whole aspect of Autumn Leaves that was a real intrinsic thing, a theme that they questioned and talked about a lot in the quest in Autumn Leaves.
Okay, can I talk more about Far Harbor?
Yes.
Far Harbor was the best DLC this game had.
I agree. I completely agree.
They may have ripped off that one quest, but the rest of them were pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
The factions were believable, multiple outcomes. They didn't bother with an extremely dumbed down ending.
Mm-hmm.
And the factions actually had motivation for what they were doing.
That's definitely true. They had really, and the whole war between the factions, like who gets the island and stuff like that, was really actually very interesting. And what made it interesting was all the different options you had for changing the whole outcome of the island.
Just run around, do something. Go ahead, wander into the waste if you have to.
Okay.
So yes, yeah, I think you're right. I just think the story there was definitely the focus of that DLC, and it shines because of that.
Exactly. Huge thing is that you have the option to, yes, underhandedly and with a bit dirty tactics, but keep peace and make all the factions play nice with each other on the island and share, and you have the option not to just kill everyone.
Yeah, I like that.
Because that's not something that happens often.
Beat dog crap with a tire iron. Come on, beat dog crap with a tire iron, please.
Where is he?
Keep going, he's right down the road.
Okay. Hold on, I'll get the tire iron. How do I... There.
Trigger.
Yes. I'm not the one who's played this game, so...
Tire iron.
Yes, okay.
One thing, though, that was kind of bad about Far Harbor was the environment. Now, I think they did very well trying to make it work, but, I mean, come on. It's obvious that the reason they chose a very stormy, wet, foggy environment... Come on, do it. Come on. Yeah! Beating puppies! Sorry. Am I completely inhuman?
No.
Oh, you're a mutt. No!
No.
Why are you taking dog crap?
I like dogs.
Cats are where it's at.
In real life, this dog would terrify me. He looks like a German Shepherd or something.
Oh yeah, he's not even the same breed as any of the other dog meats.
Really?
Exactly.
Wow.
He looks completely different with his fur pattern.
Hmm.
The original dog meat was literally a mutt. This guy does not look like a mutt. He looks like what was it, a German Shepherd?
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, the whole fog thing in Far Harbor was literally done to reduce draw distance.
Yeah.
That's why most old games actually have fog.
Like
Because
Silent Hill was huge with that because although they did that, to hide graphics and stuff, it turned out like creating a really creepy atmosphere, which made it very popular.
well, that's why those old games would have to try to work that in. But some games were horrible. You ever played like the N64 Turok? The fog was like 5 feet in front of your face at all times.
Oh.
But
I want to take the caps.
you just gotta aim better.
There we go.
So, like, draw distance works that like every graphic that's on the scene or in view has to be rendered. So if you have fog that obfuscates that, you can just render the fog instead of everything that's behind it. So they increase the fog, so they have to render less assets. I know many of my fans are also fans of zombies from Call of Duty. That's exactly why the level transit has so much fog. Just so you know, a lot of games do this. Like you said, Silent Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so I felt like Far Harbor. It's like, really, I thought we've moved beyond this in this day and age.
Yeah, for the whole technical capabilities, should have been able to make sure that they didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the atmosphere was part of the whole thing.
Well, like I said, they tried to make it work.
Yeah.
And so it's not much of a big deal for me. But it's like, you can't hide from me, Bethesda.
Mm-hmm.
I know what you're up to. Okay, so Vault DLC. The worst DLC in the game.
I agree.
Worse than the settlement packs.
Something about that though, it didn't even work.
Super
correctly.
buggy.
We tried to play it and it didn't even work. Like there's a game breaking bug where the next thing we were supposed to do didn't even trigger, and we didn't even want to do any of it.
Yeah, because we were just so sick of it by that point.
Yeah, exactly.
And the whole thing is, do you keep fighting her to do ethical experiments? It's like, why do we have to do experiments at all? This is just annoying.
And pointless.
She kept giving you crap about it the whole time for not doing it the unethical way.
And it's just like, mad evil scientist. I want to do evil things. I want it to be hurt, It's just like, yeah, that's original. That's nice.
What sane Vault-Tec resident, survivor of Vault 111, would then go and commit those atrocities on other people?
Exactly. We were tricked into going into those cryo tubes.
The only way I could ever think that the sole survivor would do that is if she was literally an evil, maniacal person.
Mm-hmm.
Which, as you know, you can't be in this game. There is no evil option. Which brings us to the last DLC, Nuka World. Yep. Now, first of all, the marketing for this DLC, I am totally serious. They kept saying like, oh, well, it's the last DLC for the Sole Survivor. Go on a vacation as you say farewell to the Sole Survivor. It's like, are you kidding me? A vacation is something you come back from.
Mm-hmm.
But there's nothing to come back to.
Ooh, look.
Yeah, but there's nothing to come back to. This isn't a vacation. It's a retirement.
Yeah. And even when you're there, they had all that crap about the raiders and everything. It's just like, basically, it's like either you're an evil raider or you kill everyone there.
Well, Nuka World is basically their answer to the common criticism that you can't be evil in Fallout 4. All you can be is a jerk. So what they do is they make a DLC that requires you to be evil to play it.
Exactly. And
they're like, oh, see, you got an evil option now. No, you don't. You have an evil expansion, an evil area. That's it. Sorry, did I cut you off?
No, it's fine.
I do think Nuka World was the opposite of Far Harbor in that the story was bad, but the environment was actually pretty cool.
Oh, yes, I agree because, yeah, the story was awful. It's like either you're a mass murdering raider or you're a mass murdering good guy. But the environment, the whole park and everything was actually really
I
cool.
felt like each park had its own thing going for it.
Uh huh.
And while I didn't care for killing everything, I just thought the environment looked awesome. I loved taking those screenshots for the thumbnails.
And it was just such a cool place to explore everything. And I admit, honestly, the whole collection quests in that were pretty cool. Like the whole you have to find all the cappies and you get a good reward.
Well, we didn't
And
bother much with it because there wasn't really much there, but it's nice having that there.
yeah,
Like,
and the whole collect all the perk medallions and you get a reward. That kind of thing I thought was pretty cool.
it's fluff, but it's also kind of like icing fluff. It's good fluff.
Yeah, it's good fluff. It's nice.
You didn't have to do it. If you had to do it, that would be bad fluff.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to get all the medallions to open the secret door to the power facility. um, the Raiders, the good option was just so horrible. I don't know if there's much else we can say. Basically, the only good option is killing everyone. We literally had to get a mod just to allow us to play through the DLC.
Because otherwise they force you to raid all your own settlements, which is something. Why would you even do that? Like, you're giving your settlements to raiders, which are dangerous and predictable people, instead of having control over them yourself.
Yep. Oh, you know what's going to make this interesting, though?
What?
When you I don't like the word canon, but whenever you regard the previous experiences of the Fallout heroes, it's almost always taken as the default they were good guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, the Fallout 1, the Vault Dweller, is known to be a legend throughout the Wasteland. He was a good guy. Despite the fact that you could be a bad guy when you played as him, it's known in the subsequent games that no, he was a good guy. That was the ending that actually happened.
You know what?
And so-
And even if you were a good guy, I think, history sort of just remembers you as such a, big force that it doesn't really matter.
Well, that's how they
whether
get
you're
out of the
good or
question in later games. Like Fallout 3, see the Brotherhood, they don't ever really mention you too specifically. They're very vague. And considering how they're Nazis now, who knows whether you help them or hurt them.
not. Yeah.
Well, actually,
Oh,
I
God,
guess,
maybe
actually, no,
it's
I
creepy.
forgot. Because you can kill the Brotherhood in Fallout 3. It's very difficult, but you can.
Oh, God.
So we're at least making the assumption that they survived. So, yeah, so it's explicitly said for the first Fallout game that, no, the Vault Dweller was a good guy.
Yeah.
But for subsequent ones, for the Chosen One, the Lone Wanderer, the Soldier, the Sole Survivor, even maybe, the Courier, it's going to be assumed that they were the good guys. No matter what path you took, they're going to assume you took the good path in subsequent games. Right?
Mhm. Yeah, that's
So,
true.
but they only do that because that's the right way of completing things. So does that mean in the games after the Sole Survivor, they might assume we were the good guys who sided with the Minutemen and blew up the Institute? But are they going to assume that we complete all the expansions as well?
I wonder.
And what counts as completing the Nuka World expansion? Are they truly going to say just murdering all the raiders in Nuka World was the good option? Or are they going to say actually completing the quest there was? So does this mean that the Sole Survivor will be the first hero of the Fallout universe to actually become corrupted and turn into a bad guy after their heroic deeds?
I don't know. We'll have to see.
We will probably never know.
Yeah, that's true.
So I guess that's really most of what we had to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, even though Fallout 4 was mostly propaganda, I feel like even without it, it still wouldn't have been a bad game. I think Fallout 4 is a good game. It's just a bad Fallout game.
Yeah, I agree.
If it didn't have all the Fallout IP, it probably would have been an amazing game. People wouldn't have been comparing it. But you have to compare it because Bethesda, you have experience making these games. You own the IP. So how can you not use that to your advantage?
Mm-hmm.
You can't just treat this as an isolated mistake. So, Yeah, that's how I feel about it.
Yeah,
Now, we do have a few more things we want to go over. One being the ending. The ending was horrible.
I agree. And it was horrible because. Ooh, crap. It was horrible because it. Damn it. It was horrible because it basically was the same no matter who you picked. You destroyed the Institute, or you didn't, you know?
Your choices literally didn't matter. Wait, how did that mod turn on?
I have no clue.
Whatever, forget it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it literally didn't matter what choices you made. And the ending cutscene was made so fast, so cheap. It's a very clear example of what we said about front loading their awesome content.
Mm-hmm.
How the intro cutscene is so much better than the end.
Yeah, definitely.
So, because of this, we figured, Fallout New Vegas, even Fallout 3, and definitely the other Fallouts, had better endings than Fallout 4.
Yeah, definitely.
Not only that, it's not hard to make. They could have made it in like a day or two. They actually tried.
Exactly, and it's like the ending slides for New Vegas or anything, and all the DLCs and everything they did for that. They could have done something really cool and really simple, technically, like that. Instead, they went with that whole cutscene, which honestly, I agree with you in that we could have just done without it.
So we decided, you know what? We think we could do better. So we did.
Yes, exactly.
I made a mod, Fallout 4 Better Endings. Kira has been helping me on it. So what we have that we're going to show you right next is going to be our take on the better endings for Fallout 4.
It's going to be our ending.
Yeah, we're going to do ours. So just check it out and see what you think.
Mm-hmm. Through the use of cryogenic refrigeration, the sole survivor of Vault 111 stepped into the Commonwealth for the first time in 210 years. Having witnessed the murder of her veteran husband and the kidnapping of her son, Sean, she headed out into the waste. The sole survivor was unable to simply spectate the turmoil in the Commonwealth. The survivor, as a spy for the railroad, set off a nuclear explosion in the depths of the ominous Institute, eliminating the threat of the Institute once and for all and cementing the railroad's place in the Commonwealth.
The survivor finally reunited with Sean, now the director and father of the Institute. He welcomed his parent, but their rivaling ideals led to the explosion that destroyed the Institute and killed father. Upon leaving the soon-to-be ruins of the Institute, S923 approached the survivor. He asked to be reunited with his parent, and the survivor understood that this synth was Sean. Sean had a message from father, saying that S923 was reprogrammed to believe he is Sean. The survivor helped care for him. The institute that frightened so many people became yet another ruin. Below the Commonwealth lay the ruin of a civilization and threat they posed. Remnants of the institute survived and scattered into the wastes.
The railroad became the dominant force in the Commonwealth. Desdemona ensured that all Gen 3 synths would eventually be free and treated as equals. The railroad ceased to be a secret organization, but continued to operate for their mission of equality with little transparency.
The survivor managed to help bring the Minutemen back by recruiting people to help protect the Commonwealth. They learned of the destruction of the Institute and continued to assist and protect the Commonwealth. The East Coast chapter of the Brotherhood of Steel was crippled after their leadership, envoy, and assets in the Commonwealth were completely destroyed. The Brotherhood in the capital wasteland once again found themselves without a capable leader to replace the one they lost.
The railroad incorporated Diamond City under their influence. After Mayor McDonough was removed from office, Geneva continued as acting mayor until an official election was held. After the survivor betrayed Bobby Nonos when she tried to steal from Mayor Hancock of Goodneighbor, the town had more faith in the incumbent mayor instilled into it. Goodneighbor continued to be a refuge for the less fortunate and shady people in the Commonwealth. After the Battle of Bunker Hill, the people that lived there continued to live their lives, albeit with a more distrusting outlook on others. The survivor and Dan learned of the psychological experiments the Covenant conducted to root out synths. The survivor saved people and synths from torture, but also massacred the townspeople. Covenant was then reestablished as an actual peaceful settlement. The crew of the USS Constitution nearly realized their dream of reaching the sea when the survivor assisted moving the ship nearer to the sea. Many years of modifications down the line, they eventually did so twice more, finally reaching the sea. While exploring Vault 81, the survivor uncovered the secret Vault 81, and a deadly Vault-Tec disease infected the young Vault dweller Austin. The survivor found the cure and selflessly used it to cure the boy, and so made the Vault more open to visitors.
Dogmeat proved to be a loyal companion to the survivor in their adventures together. Joining the survivor in adventures proved to be the most exciting thing Codsworth had ever done. While he didn't care for everything that happened, helping the survivor brought him much joy. Thanks to the survivor, Nick Valentine finally killed the criminal Eddie Winter, and Nick got the closure he desired. Afterwards, he took on a variety of cases, increasing the notoriety of his detective agency. The survivor hired MacReady as a bodyguard, and in return MacReady asked that the survivor find a cure for his son. The survivor delivered. Eventually he received a letter from his son, with hope for a brighter future.
The survivor helped cure Kate of her chem addiction, for which Kate was truly grateful. Kate pondered her future in the Commonwealth, but she decided that whatever she did, it was going to be for the better. Curie made many observations about the world in her travels with the survivor, wonders she had never seen. She felt liberated in the body of G519, and eventually she became a renowned scientist in the Commonwealth.
Hancock enjoyed his adventures with the survivor, but eventually he returned to being full-time mayor at Goodneighbor, a bit older and a bit wiser. Strong learned much about mankind from his adventures with the survivor. Eventually he started a cult of supermutants that reportedly had a thing for milk.
After the Institute was destroyed, Piper wrote many articles about how the Commonwealth had been saved. She and her sister Nat continued to live happy lives in Diamond City, looking towards the future.
Preston managed to lead the Minutemen back from the dead. He gladly devoted his life to making sure the Minutemen would protect the people. When Paladin Danse realized his identity as the synth M797, the survivor convinced him to stay in the Commonwealth. He was exiled from the Brotherhood, but he settled down and lived a quiet life. The survivor was the first person that Deacon felt he could trust in a long time. They fought for synth rights together for quite some time, making for many war stories in the survivor's old age. After the Institute was destroyed, a long time passed before X688 realized the significance of it. Eventually, he adopted a new persona in an effort to survive, and with his skills, he was never captured.
Ada finally understood the meaning behind the death of her friends, and she felt closure. She was thankful the survivor had helped defeat the Mechanist. Eventually, she formed another caravan with the other robots the survivor modified. Isabel Cruz retired her identity as the Mechanist, and the survivor forgave her for her actions of sending robots to better the Commonwealth. On the island of Far Harbor, the survivor brokered peace between the residing factions. The people of Far Harbor, under the leadership of Captain Avery the Synth, through cooperation with the children of Adam and Acadia, were able to reclaim some of the island that was lost to them.
The synth refugees in Acadia wearily accepted peace with both Far Harbor and the children of Adam. Dima was ashamed of what he had done in the past, but due to the survivors' negotiations, he looked towards a peaceful future on the island.
The children of Adam never came to realize High Confessor Tectus was replaced with the synth. Under his leadership, they became more accepting of non-believers and agreed to relent and even provide aid to the people of Far Harbor and Acadia.
Killing Shipbreaker with the help of the survivor finally quieted the rage old Longfellow felt towards the beast, and he considered moving forward in his life once more.
The experiments of Vault 88 remained unfulfilled and unexplored. The survivors stepped down from the title of Overboss of Nuka World, killing all of the raider gangs. The enslaved traders were freed and reacquired control of Nuka World.
Gage had assisted the survivor in becoming Overboss of Nuka World, although it hadn't been the payoff he had expected. The survivor made a difference in the Commonwealth, but eventually that time came to an end. Blood was spilled, tears were shed, and factions toiled. Because war never changes. Okay, so I think that was a lot better.
Yeah, and I completely agree because
I mean, we could have used real voice actors, but whatever.
it just goes further than the original ending ever did. And something about the endings is that it's similar to things we see in that Mass Effect had the same kind of...
Oh, are you complaining? No, okay, it's confusing. Our ending is not like that.
No, I'm talking about the original ending.
Well, too late. We already complained about the original endings.
Oh, come on. The comparison is...
No, okay, we're done.
Okay, fine.
Should have said that before. So, okay. I hope you guys like the endings that we made. And what we want to talk about next, our last talking point, is what we're going to do next. This is our last Fallout 4 episode. It's going to be a very long time before I ever think about playing this game again.
Mm-hmm.
We thought we had so much higher expectations than what it was. And they weren't due to hype. We weren't really that hyped about it. We thought we were excited, but we weren't blind. And I just feel that there was just reasonable expectations weren't met.
Yeah.
So we're done playing Fallout 4. We are still going to be playing our New Vegas super modded Fallout that we also do. I highly encourage some of you guys to check it out if you haven't already, because New Vegas is just such a more well thought out Fallout game. Yes, worse graphics, but we have a lot of graphic mods to help that out. Mm-hmm. And we got so many mods in general that make it a more exciting experience. And so I guess we'll just be doing 3 of those a week now instead of the 2, since we no longer have the Fallout 4 episode to do a week.
Yeah, that's true, and I'll be looking forward to that because I love New Vegas.
Say the Mass Effect thing. I know you want to.
Okay, so the parallels between the Mass Effect and the Fallout 4 ending are that everyone expected Mass Effect to do what they promised, which was a very specific and tailored ending to however they played the game, because it was a long 3 different games. You made decisions over all 3
trilogy.
Of them. Yeah, the trilogy. And then they ended up doing a cookie cutter ending. 3 endings: good, neutral, evil. 3 different explosions.
Different colors of explosions.
Yeah, 3 different colors of explosions. And that was all you got as far as, doing your choices.
Well, this kind of shows an endemic problem in the industry. Once you've paid the game, you've supported it, whether you find out that you liked it or not.
That's also very true. And I feel like it's similar because, we expected Fallout to give us a tailored ending, show us what happened with all these people we met and what our choices did, and they didn't.
Fallout 4 has been a huge success despite the pretty much universal panning they got from, people that were legitimately disappointed. So that makes the argument that they can continue doing this. But I think that argument is flawed. You can't just keep hyping up games and making great games, because then people are going to tire of them. They're going to catch wise to it. I think Fallout 4's success was just a testament of the amazing quality of Fallout 3 and especially New Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason Fallout 4 did so well.
Is because of the history.
Because people legitimately could expect a lot, having played their previous titles that were so good. So now, the next Fallout game that comes out is going to have a huge challenge, and I would hope not be as successful. Because the next Fallout game, they're going to get the backlash from worrying about being lied to with everything like we were with Fallout 4.
Exactly. I think it will really happen because...
And the worst part is, they might even try better on the next game and still get that backlash. And they're going to think, because they have it kind of like a reverse cycle going, that, oh, well, maybe trying hard was the problem.
Yeah.
Like, they'll probably go the path of least resistance and just lazily do it. I mean, I hate that, but, I mean, that's capitalism for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you got anything else to say?
No, not really. No, it was disappointing, but it's over now, so.
I mean, I do not regret buying this game. I think it was a very enjoyable game. It was worth the season pass, the $90 to play it. But if I pay for something, then I have the right to critique the product. I have a right to review what I thought of it and how much I thought it was worth the money I paid for it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
All in all, I'm glad to support Bethesda. Their mod support is one of the things I think that makes them one of the better video game companies. But that doesn't excuse everything else they do.
Exactly. Like, expecting modders to increase the life of the game and fix bugs and stuff.
You can't use it too much as a crutch.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like they really have a lot.
But, I mean, I love Nintendo and some of the stuff they do. But their attitude towards copyright, I mean, it's like the polar opposite with Bethesda. It's the reason I can use Bethesda and Nintendo in the same sentence. Because when it's regarding mods, that's something that Bethesda really does right.
Mm-hmm.
Assuming they make the game with a GEC that makes it easy to use mods.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. We've gone on a lot longer than I thought we were going to. I don't care.
Neither do I.
This has been Fallout 4K Squared for the last time. Kyle.
I'm Kira.
And I really hope you guys enjoyed our series. I appreciate any of you that stuck through it. Any of you that skipped here and there. Any of you that are literally just watching this video. I don't care. Mm-hmm. I appreciate you all.
Yeah, I do too.
So check out Super Mario Fallout. It's a better game.
Yeah. But...
And thank you, Bethesda, and the developers that worked on it. I'm a little frustrated at the guys in charge. Looking at you, Howard. Hire me. But I will help fix some of these things. I will try my best.
Okay.
But good game.
Mm-hmm.
Bad Fallout game.
Agree.
Propaganda.
Mm-hmm.
And bye.
Bye.